Let's be real. Getting consistent leads for your business isn't easy. Whether you're selling cleaning services, marketing, IT, or anything else, finding the right decision maker, reaching them, and getting them to respond feels like pushing a boulder uphill. You can spend hours cold calling, posting on social media, or buying random lists and still end up with nothing predictable to show for it. The truth is, most small businesses don't have a system for generating leads. They rely on luck, referrals, or paid ads that stop working the minute the budget runs out. But what if you could build a simple, automated process that consistently find verified prospect, contact them for you, and book appointments every week without the grind? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that using two tools. Apollo.io to find real decision makers in your target market, and Wootomatic to automatically follow up with them through email sequences and marketing workflows. The combination builds you a self-running lead generation system, one that doesn't care what industry you're in. Now, to make this 100% practical, we are going to use one of the hardest industries to get leads in, commercial cleaning, as our live example. Why? Because if this process works for janitorial and facility service businesses, where getting through to a decision maker is notoriously tough, then it will absolutely work for your business too. Marketing agencies, consultant, roofers, IT provider, it doesn't matter. The framework stays the same, only your filters, messages, and offers will change. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to find your ideal prospect automatically, import them straight into your CRM, launch an outreach sequence that runs on autopilot, and turn cold data into booked appointments. This is how small businesses scale, not with more effort, but with better systems. All right, no theory, no fluff. Let's get into it. We'll start inside Apollo.io, and I will show you exactly how to find and filter verified decision makers. Then we'll plug that list into Wootomatic to create a fully automated lead follow-up system. Let's jump right in. So this is an example of what we are going to build today together, and everything will start with Apollo.io. And inside Apollo.io, we'll be able to define, the criteria that will make our ideal customer profile, right? For example, we're going to define the job titles of the prospect or the leads that we're looking to target. We'll also define, we might define the company that they work for, the industry that they're in, and the location that we want to target, right? And then in the next step, still inside Apollo.io, we are going to build our search and our filters. We are going to make sure that the emails that we get from the list are verified, because we don't want to send communications to a contact that is not active, or that doesn't have an active or a verified email. We want to make sure that those contacts are verified, okay? And then we also going to make sure that the number of employees working at that organization is at least 10 or more, right? Because we want at least a medium to large size companies, because a small size company might not necessarily need our services, okay? And we also want to make sure inside our filters that those decision makers that we're looking for, they have been active on the job for X amount of month or X amount of time. So that will make sure that we are talking to the right person, okay? Then once we have defined our ideal customer profile, we are going to save our list, right? And we could call the list something like commercial cleaning San Francisco, or commercial cleaning um, Oakland, or real estate developers Miami, something like that. And then we're going to, once we save that list, we are going to export that list in CDS, right? And once we export that list, that's where we will upload it into Wootomatic, and from there, Wootomatic will take over, the automation and the workflows and the follow-ups. Okay. So inside Wootomatic, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to set up the data. Set up the data means importing our contacts, cleaning up the data, making sure there's no duplicates, making sure that the emails are there, maybe the phone number and other information. And then we are going to make sure that for every single contact, we add specific tag that will help identify these group of prospects, right? So it could be something like Apollo leads, um, you know, commercial cleaning 2025, something like that, just to make sure that we can segment this specific list from the rest of the other list that we might have into our CRM, right? And then we are going to create a smart list. The smart list is what going to isolate this list from the rest of the other lists that we might have. Okay. And then after that, we are going to uh, integrate our calendar. So if we don't have a calendar yet, we will create a calendar inside Automatic that we can connect to either our Google Calendar or our Outlook calendar or our iCal on iPhone. And once we create our calendar, we are going to get a link, and that's the link that we are going to use inside our communication. So when we send out our email campaigns, we are going to invite those prospects, if they're interested in working with us, to book an appointment with us from that calendar. So it's important for us to set up our calendar ahead of time before we start sending out those emails. Okay. And then uh, once we have that set up, the next step will be to work on the workflow logic itself. So the logic will be based on couple actions. So here we will have 4 to 5 emails that we are going to send out, and every single email will be spaced out. So meaning if I send the first email today, and I will wait a few days before I can send the follow-up emails, right? And only the prospect that did not answer or that did not engage with the previous email will be added to the second email, and so on and so forth until we get to the fourth or the fifth email. Okay. And once we set up the workflow logic, then we are going to populate those workflows with the appropriate email. Email number 1, email number 2, email number 3, email number 4, etc., etc. Okay. So this is what we are going to build today, and I am excited. So let's get into it. Awesome. So once you log in into Apollo.io, you're going to see an interface that looks like this. And at first, it can be very confusing because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of buttons, there's a lot of menus all over the place. So don't get too confused by all these menus. All I want you to focus on is this section right here, the prospect and enrich section. Okay, especially specifically the people and the list section. Okay. So if we go to the people section here, this is where we are going to create our filters. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is to create a list. So let's come here and then let's click on create a list. And I'm going to call this list local facility managers list. Okay. And then I'm going to save it. Now that I have the list created, now we can add records to this list, right? So now I'm going to go back to the people's tab, and here, this is where I'm going to build my filter, okay? The first thing I need to do is come here to list, and I want to uh I want to give me a second. When I come to list, advanced, and then I want to exclude the list, exclude contact from the list I just created, right? So if in the future I get new data that corresponds to the filters that I will create, I don't want duplicates to show up here on the screen, okay? So that's why we exclude contacts that will already be on this list so that we don't have duplicates every single time, okay? That's why we're doing that. So now that the list has been excluded, the next thing that we want to do is to make sure that our emails are verified. So we come to email status, and then we're going to check verify, because we only want verified emails. Okay. We don't want emails that have not been verified. We don't want to send email communications out and then the email will bounce because it's an invalid email. So we want to make sure that those emails have been verified ahead of time. Okay. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. The next thing is to define the job titles, right? And we are going to include the following. We are going to include facility manager. We are going to include office manager. We are going to include operations manager. And then property manager. Okay. So these are the 4 job titles that we are going to include. Okay. The next thing is the location, right? Depending on the region or the city or the state that we're in, we want to target specific people, right? So I'm going to select 2 cities, and the good thing here, we can enter zip code, cities, country, or state. So I'm going to enter a city. I'm going to enter San Francisco Bay Area or San Francisco, California. Okay. Enter Oakland, California. Well, it's not finding. Okay, there you go. Oakland, California. Okay. And you can add as many cities as you want. And as you can see, the more we're filtering, the total is going down, right? As you can see here. So, and then we need employee counts, right? So that's the next filter. So let's come to employees. And let's say let's say custom range. And we say minimum 10. We want companies that have at least 10 employees, because that means that that means that they have a lot of space, right? So they're definitely a company that we want to target, because if you have 10 employees, that means you have a bigger space, so you definitely need cleaning services, right? So we're going to target companies with at least 10 employees or more. Okay. And then the last thing is we want the score of this company to be fair, right? Then this is just a filter from Apollo, is a way to filter the company by how fair it is, in terms of um, data quality, or or the criteria. So we're going to select fair, And as you can see now, we have 593 office manager, operations manager, etc., etc., etc. So these are the people that we can target and send our communications to, right? So once we have these, now we want to save this data or extract this data into a CVS file, right? So what you do, you come here to more options and then you select, and then you have the option to only select 25 people, or you can select all 593 people, and then you click apply. And once you click apply, it's going to select all 593 people, right? And then once they're all selected, the next thing you can do now is come here, add to list, because we already created local facility managers list. So we're going to add all these contacts to that list. Okay. So click drop down and then select and then add to list. So you can see he's adding all the contacts. Wait a second. Okay. So it's added. Now that it's added, what we can do now is export this contact list, right? And once we export, we want it in CSV. So you're going to select CSV and you're going to select local managers list, right? And then export a CSV and then export all emails because they have already been verified. So you don't need to export verified email only. All the emails that we have been verified. So we don't need to select these options anymore. And then we just click save. And once we click save, we are going to export the contacts in the CVS file. And these are the contacts that we'll be able to upload into Wootomatic in order to create our automations. But the thing here now is in the future, right? Every single new contacts that Apollo will find, it will be added to this list. And then all we have to do is just come here, select those contacts, and then add them to our list again. So they will be added continuously because Apollo is always scanning the web for new leads. So we don't have to do that. So whenever we log in every couple hours, we're going to see new leads that will be new prospect that will be displayed on the screen. If you want to add them to our list, all we got to do is select them and then and then add to our list. Okay, and then they will be added to our list, and then we can download the list again. Okay, so this is all you need in Apollo. Like it's not complicated. This is all you need. And in the next step, we are going to upload these contacts into Wootomatic and then create our automations. Okay. So once you save your list and export it, it will be sent through your email. You'll be able to download the CVS file and then open it. I suggest you open it into Google Sheets. And when you open it into Google Sheet, it will look something like this. And of course, I blurred the email column and the phone number column so you don't see their personal information. But the spreadsheet will look something like this. You have the name, the job title, the company, the email, the phone number, and then a few other fields, right? And what we need to do now is remove unnecessary field. And from this spreadsheet right here, I don't think I need the actions fields and the links field. So I will select these two fields and then I will delete columns. Delete columns, right? And so you do the same for your list. You have to select the column that you might not need moving forward, but make sure that you keep the name, the job title, the company, the email, phone number, the location, the number of employees, because you might need that data in the future. The industry that they're in is very important to personalize your message, and maybe some keywords if you want to sort or search by a specific keyword. So once you have your data cleaned up, then you can export it again into another CSV file. So you can do file, download, file, download, CSV. Okay, and then you'll be able to save it into a CSV file that will be ready to be uploaded into Wootomatic. So once we have exported our CSV file and we have cleaned it up and it's ready to be uploaded into our CRM, we're going to come into Wootomatic Systems, which is a white label version of GoHighLevel, one of the best CRM tools in the on the market. So once we log in into Wootomatic, um, we will go to opportunities, because the first thing we're going to do is create a pipeline. Okay, so we'll go to opportunities, pipelines, and then we are going to create our first pipeline. So click on create pipeline, and we will name this pipeline commercial cleaning outreach. Okay, and then we will have the following stage. We have new leads, contacted, interested, okay, booked appointment. Then we will add another stage for closed, and then another stage for nurture. Okay, then we're going to click create. Now we have our pipeline created, and then we have all our stage created. So if we come back to the opportunities now, and you see that we have our pipeline and all our stages created. Okay, the next thing is to create custom fields, because when we exported our list from Apollo, there might be some fields that are not native into our CRM, right? For example, first name, last name, email, those are native fields into it. Any CRM has those fields as far as contact goes. But then there are certain fields that are custom, right? That might not be native into any CRM. So we want to be able to create those custom fields so that when we import our list, we can match the custom field with the column inside our CRM, inside our CSV file. Okay, that makes sense. So to do that, we'll come to settings and then custom fields. And then we're gonna create 2 or 3 custom fields only. So the first one is going to be we're going to create a custom field for autosave, for the number of employees, and then for keywords. So autosave is auto score, I'm sorry, is a number. If you remember from our spreadsheet, it was a number. So we're going to select custom field number. Okay. Next. And then we are going to call it auto score. Okay. And then we're going to click save. We have to select the group. So select contact because we want it to be attached to the contact. And then you're going to click save. Next, we are going to create the number of employee, which is also a number. So we're going to click on number, next, and then number of employees. Or we can just do it like this, and then add it to the contacts, and then save. Lastly, we'll create another field for keywords. And in this case, it will be simple text, right? So select single line text input. You also have the option to select multi-line, which is pretty much the same thing, but the multi-line is a little wider as far as text input, but it serves the same purpose. So let's click next, and then here we'll add keywords. And then we'll click save. Once we have our custom fields created, now we can import our list into our CRM, right? So let's go back, then let's go to contacts. Then let's click on import, select contact, click next, and then it asks us to upload our list. So we're gonna click, all right. And then we have the option to create and update contacts. So in case we already have some of these contacts in our CRM, the upload process will not recreate those contacts. It will simply update those contacts. So if there was a field that was missing, it will update those fields appropriately. So let's keep it like this to create and update contacts, and then click next. Fantastic. Now you can see we are able to upload all these fields, and then we can map them now. So automatically the system was able to map the name to the name here, the job title. Here we need to look for title or position. Okay, we see it does not exist, as you can see. So we might need to create a custom field for the job title. Okay, very important. But it already matched the email, the phone number, the auto score, the location. You can select street address or city, better. Okay, number of employees, match it to number of employees, which is a custom field that we already created. Select, okay. Industry, we don't have anything for industry. We have one for keywords, right? As you can see, depending on your needs, you might want to create custom fields for industries, job title, etc., etc. And once we have that, we are now able to save our contact. So let's check this box here and then click next. Now it's asking us to create a smart list for the new contacts, and we're going to check yes. But then we are going to call this, we can call this, anything we want. But it's important to call it something that we'll remember. Okay, the date is also important to keep, so I will put here local underscore facility underscore managers underscore list underscore. Okay, get the idea. Add tags to the import list. Yes, we want to add a tag. If we do not have an appropriate tag here, we can create a new tag if we need to. Okay, so we can say something like apollo.io, and then we'll have the option to add it as a tag, right? And just click that. Now we have our tag, and then the next thing is to confirm and then start bulk import. Okay, so it will take a few minutes to upload, but the upload will happen, and then we will have a separate smart list here that will have all those contacts uploaded. Okay, and this is how you upload your contacts into your smart list. So now what we are going to do is in the next step, we are going to create our automations that are going to be sent out to these contacts. So now that we've been able to upload our contacts to the CRM, the next step will be to create or to integrate a calendar, because we want to be able to add a calendar link inside our email communications to allow our prospects to click on the calendar link and then book an appointment with us, right? But before we do that, I went ahead and I added the missing, there were two missing custom fields that needed to be added in order to complete um, the contact list. So I added the job title and the industry. Okay. So now the next thing will be to integrate a calendar. So let's go to calendars, and then we click on go to calendar settings, and then create calendar. Click on more types, and we are going to select service booking, right? Because that's what um, is more related to our business type. Okay, we are a service-based business, so we need a service-based calendar. Okay, so let's click on service booking, and we are going to call this cleaning consultation or something like that. It's up to you. Okay, and I also have a little description here that I'm going to copy. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna click here on description. I'm gonna paste a description. It's a simple description about, what we're offering. And I need to select a staff member. We always need to have a staff member who is going to be assigned this calendar to. Okay. At the end of the day, when the company is about to deliver the service, there could be multiple staff members that are involved in the delivery. But when the client is booking, right, we need to have a staff member who is available. Okay, so we're going to select one staff member here. All right, and we're going to have a custom calendar URL here. This is the link that we will use later on. And depending on what type of service or what type of cleaning is needed, the duration of the service might vary. So let's say 120 minutes, right, for the duration of one service. Okay, and then we're going to click on advanced settings. Okay, so from here we can upload a logo, our logo, business logo, if we need to. We can create a custom invite title, for example, contact.name, and then we can add something like cleaning consultation. So that way, when the prospect receives a the appointment confirmation, the title would say John Doe cleaning consultation, right? And then we have our team member who's been assigned, and then the meeting location here, or the appointment location. This is not very important at the moment. We can leave it blank. And then you have a couple more options here, like the availability and the service interval. So how much time do we need between each services, right? So if we had a booking for today at 9 a.m., for example, after that, how much time do we need before another client or another prospect can book a consultation? So let's say maybe 90 minutes just to be safe. Okay, and click on form and payment. So here we can create a custom form that the client would fill on top of booking the appointment. So when they book an appointment, they're going to select the date, right? And then the time, and then they'll be able to fill out a form, the name, the email, phone number, maybe their business location where we're going to deliver the service. So we can also create a custom form. And if you create a custom form, it will show up here and then we can select that form. But for now, let's go with the default. And also, if we want to accept payment, we have to turn this feature on. But before we turn this feature on, we need to connect the payment provider so that before we can do that. So let's click on the next step. And then here we can leave it blank, customization. These are just customization that we don't really need for now for the type of services that we're providing. So at this stage, we can click save. Okay, saying the slug is invalid. So let's add something else like um, cleaning consultation. Let's say we service in San Francisco, for example. So we could say San Francisco, just so we have a custom link. Okay, let's see if we can save this. Okay, awesome. Now that we can save this, we have this share calendar right here. Okay, so we're gonna click on it and we have this link. These links that we can use either or is fine. So this is the link that we are going to insert into our email communication that customers will be able to click and then they will be able to book an appointment. So let me copy this because we are going to save it. So I'm going to save it in the files in a file somewhere, and we will use it later on while when we creating our emails. Okay, we will add it to the email. Now that we have our calendar created, if we go back here to our calendars, we can see now our calendar is going to display, right? We have a calendar. Right now we have a calendar where our prospect can book an appointment with us, right? And the next step now will be to create a custom value because we don't want to copy the link every single time. We want to make it as seamless as possible. So we can create a custom value where we are going to put that calendar link inside, and then in our communication, we can just use the custom value that would represent that link. Okay. So to do that, we are going to go to settings, custom values. And then from here, we're going to click on custom value. We're going to create a new custom value and we're going to call this cleaning consultation. Matter of fact, we're going to calendar cleaning consultation. Okay. And the value will be the link that we created earlier, right? The calendar link that we created. Okay. And then we're going to click on create. Okay, now once that link is created, now we are ready to use it inside our communications, right? So that will be the next, and the next step now will be to create the workflows where we will have all the 5 emails that we are going to send to our prospect, and inside those emails, inside each one of those emails, we're going to have a link for our prospect to click and book the consultation. Okay, so that will be the next step. So after we've uploaded our list of contacts into our CRM, now it's time to create our workflow, right? That's going to automate the entire communication process. And I already went ahead and created this workflow right here, and I'm going to walk you through it and how it works. So if you remember in the last step, when we're uploading our contact into the CRM, we added a tag to each contact, the tag called apollo.io. Okay, so what's happening in the background is when you add this tag and then you upload your contact, this automation or this workflow is going to be triggered because the workflow is going to detect, right, that contacts have a tag that's been added to them, right? It's going to detect, okay, this contact number one has the tag apollo.io that was just added to it. And so this workflow is going to kick off. Okay, so this is the trigger of the workflow. Okay, and just to show you how to create this, you click here on add new triggers, and then you can search for tags, and then you select contact tags, and then you come here to filters, and then you select tag added, and then you select the tag apollo.io. Okay, and then you click save. That's how you add this tag. And then you can also add the text here, such as apollo.io. This is just for you to be able to remember what the tag is all about, right? And then once you save it, then you have your tag. Now, once your all your contacts are added into this workflow, you want to wait a little bit, right? You want to give them a little bit of time before you send your first message. Now, it's up to you. You can send it immediately, or you can send it after 2 hours or after 3 hours. I just put here 6 hours as an example, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So the workflow will wait for 6 hours, and it's going to resume between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., as you can see here. And the type of wait is a time delay. So we're going to wait 6 hours. There are multiple time-based wait um, technique, right? You can wait for a specific time to pass, or you can wait for a specific event to happen. So let's say the customer books an event, then the workflow would kick off, and there are multiple actions here that you can take. But for now, we're going to go with the time delay, and then we are going to wait for 6 hours. And by default, the advanced window is going to be turned off, right? So you're going to turn this off, and then you want to resume it between Monday and Saturday. Okay. You don't want to send messages on Sundays because people don't usually work on Sundays. So from Monday to Saturday, and then your window would be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or you could say 6 p.m., whatever works better for you. Okay. And then you click save. And then after the 6 hours, so here's the thing. If these contacts were added at 5 p.m., right? And then you wait 6 hours, it will be 11 p.m. The the workflow is not going to send this to go to the next step because it's going to wait and resume between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. You don't want to send your communication at 11 p.m., right? It doesn't really make sense. So it's going to wait from between 9 and 5 before it can send or before it can go to the next step. And the next step will be to send your first email, which will be an introduction and an offer, right? And to add this, all you have to do is you click on this plus sign, and then you type email, and then you select send email. You're going to put your action here, your action name. So it could be email number one, right? Just like you see here, intro and offer, right? This is where you add your action name, and then your from name. You can say commercial cleaning SF, right? So when they receive the email from you, the name is going to say commercial cleaning SF. Or you can put your own name like John Doe, okay? And then you put your email that the communication will come from, or the email actually sending the communication out. You put your subject line, and then here you type your message, right? So I already have a message here that I typed, and the subject is special offer, free cleaning audit for contact the company name. And remember, when we were uploading our contact into the CRM, we had a column for the company name. So this is going to be replaced by the company name. So this is how you make your message personalized, okay? And here we're going to have the message itself, right? And the message would be something like, hello, John. I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out from my company to introduce our commercial cleaning service designed to keep your workplace spotless and healthy, right? Yada, yada, yada. We, it, this audit will help identify area of improvement and tailor our service. So you will write your first message. And now, if you want to add the link for them to book an appointment, this is how you do it. So you will come, for example, right here where it says, please feel free to reach out at your convenience to schedule your free audit or ask any question. Or you can say something like, if you would like to schedule an appointment, please click on the link below, right? And then you come down here and then you're gonna go to custom values and custom values, and then you're gonna see here calendar cleaning consultation, and you select, right? And it's going to replace this placeholder. This is the custom value that we created previously, right? So when the email is sent out, it's going to replace this with the link itself that the users will be able to click. Okay, so this is how you would add your calendar link inside your email. Okay, so this is just an example for you to see. And so I will just remove it for now. And then once the first message is sent out, you want to update your opportunity. So you remember we created a pipeline where we'll be able to track the entire journey of our lead from a new lead to closed, right? So once we send out the first email, we're gonna update the stage of this pipeline from new lead to contacted, because we just contacted them, right? We just sent them a message. So we update the pipeline like that automatically, so someone doesn't have to actually go inside the pipeline and then move, the prospect from one stage to the next. You can do that automatically. Okay. And then you'll wait 2 days, right? And then send the second email. So the second email could be something like, see what our clients say about us, John, right? And then the message will be, hey, John, I hope this finds you well. I wanted to share some feedback from our satisfied client who have experienced the difference our commercial cleaning service bring to their business, right? And then you're going to add a testimonial here, right? And then the name of your client, okay? And then encourage them to either book an appointment or reach out to you so you can, set an appointment with them. And then you wait 3 days and then you send another email. And this is optional, right? You can wait 5 days, you can wait 7 days, it's up to you. So you know better how your business works. So you better off determining what is the best wait time that works better for your business. Okay. And in here, it will be your case study that you will put there. And then, for example, as a result, they saw a 40% reduction in maintenance complaint and a noticeable boost in employee satisfaction within just 3 months, right? So these are just marketing messages that you send out. And also remember that you can always add your calendar link, right? So come to custom value, calendar, cleaning consultation, right? And then you'll be replaced. This will be replaced with your calendar link, okay? And then you wait 4 days, you send another email, and this email could be about, just making sure if they haven't responded, this email will be about making sure that they are the right person, or if they're not the right person, can they refer you to the decision maker who can make the decision on this issue, right? And then you wait 5 days and then you send your last email, right? And the last email is final follow-up regarding your commercial cleaning needs, right? Could be something like, if you're still interested, we'll be happy to answer any questions or provide a free cleaning audit, right? This is just you staying in front of them so they can always remember you, so they can remember that, okay, this company, they are they're present in my mind. They keep sending me messages, right? So maybe I should contact them and schedule an appointment and see what this company is all about. Maybe they're a great cleaning service that I would like to use for my business. Okay. So that's the reason why you send all these messages in sequence, right? To keep your business in front of their mind so they always think about, hey, I just received another email from these guys. Maybe I should contact them, something like that. Okay. And so this is it for the workflow. And in the next section, I'm going to show you a second workflow that is going to make sure that when a customer books an appointment with us, then they will be removed from this workflow. Because let's say I book an appointment for tomorrow, for example, and then today at 3 p.m. I receive another email, for example, for the case study. That doesn't really make sense because this workflow, the goal of this workflow is for me to book an appointment, right? So if I already book an appointment, I don't want to be active in this workflow anymore. I want to be removed from this workflow. So I'm going to create a different workflow that I'm going to walk you through. And that the goal of that workflow will be to make sure that if the customer or the prospect has booked an appointment, they should not be active in this workflow anymore. Okay, so that will be the goal of the second workflow that we will create shortly. Now, so this is the second workflow that I would like to walk you guys through. And this workflow, the goal of this workflow, as the title says, is to update the previous workflow, right? So this workflow would be triggered whenever a prospect books an appointment on our calendar, right? So that's why you see here, trigger appointment booked in cleaning consultation calendar, and the contact has the tag apollo.io. So this is very important because we want to make sure that we are updating the right contact, right? Because there might be instances where the prospect is active inside a specific workflow, but then they do not have the specific tag Apollo.io, right? So in that case, this workflow would not trigger, but we want to make sure that they are active inside the cleaning consultation workflow and they have the Apollo.io tag attached to it, right? Then this workflow will trigger. And now I'm going to show you how to create this trigger. So to create this trigger, you come here, you click, and then you type appointment, right? And then you're going to select customer booked appointment, and you're going to add a filter. You're going to select in calendar. So the customer booked the appointment inside the calendar cleaning consultation. And the second filter is the customer or the contact or the prospect has the tag Apollo.io. Okay, so this is how you will create this specific trigger here. And then you will click save trigger. Now, once you add this trigger, you're gonna wait 30 seconds. I always like to do this, within my workflow so I don't overwhelm, the servers or the system. So I give it 30 seconds, and then I'm going to check if this contact that just booked an appointment is active inside the previous workflow. Okay. And to do this, all you have to do is come here, add the plus sign, and then type if, and then you're going to have this if else action here. So if I select this, and then I'm going to have this drop down here, and then I'm going to select contact active in another workflow, and I select, and then I will select workflow contact. So you have all these options here, right? But the option that we're interested in is workflow contact is active in, and then I'm going to search for cleaning consultation workflow, right? So, and then I'm going to change this branch to yes. And the condition is so this is just the name of the action is contact active in another workflow, right? And then so I'm gonna have two branches. The first branch will be yes, they're active inside this workflow. And then the second branch will be none, or you can say it's up to you. You can keep it to none or you can say no. So say no and then save, right? And actually I don't want that. But as you can see here, once you save, you have these two branches here. You have yes, they're active, and no, they're not. So if they're active, then here we're gonna create these two actions here. We're gonna update the opportunity, right? So we're gonna move the contact from the stage that they were in, from interested to book, right? Because they just book an appointment. So to do that, we're gonna click the plus sign and then type opportunity and then select update opportunity. And then we're going to add a field, and then the field will be the pipeline name is commercial cleaning. That's where they're still active. And then now what is the stage that we want them to be moved to? We want them to be moved from contacted or interested to book appointment. Okay. And then you're going to click save. So once you click save, you're going to update. It's going to create this action here. And then once you have moved your contact from one stage to the next, now you want to remove that contact from that workflow so it's not active in the previous workflow like we discussed previously. So to do that, you're going to click on the plus sign below it and then type remove, right? And then you're going to come here, remove from workflow. You're going to select remove from workflow, and you don't want to remove it from the current workflow because this is where it's active right now. You want to remove it from another workflow. So you're going to click this drop down and select another workflow, right? And then you're going to select the workflow. So let's type cleaning consultation, right? And you're going to select this, right? So you want to, if they're active inside that workflow, you want to remove them from that workflow, right? And then when you click save, then you will have this action here. And this is how you will make sure that in the first workflow, right, if they're active in it and they're receiving messages, that's great. But the moment they book an appointment, we want to make sure that they are not active inside that workflow anymore. But if they're active, we're going to update our pipeline because they just booked an appointment. So we're going to move them from a prospect that is interested to a prospect that just booked an appointment. And then we want to remove that contact or that prospect from the previous workflow because we don't want them to receive conflicting communication or conflicting messages, right? We don't want to advertise to them when they already booked an appointment, right? We want to change our messaging, if you will, right? And this is how you will make that happen. Okay, now if you found this video valuable, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. I'm going to keep sharing practical step-by-step systems just like this that actually move the needle for small businesses. Okay, whether you're running a marketing agency, a roofing company, a bookkeeping service, or an IT firm, the process stays the same. Just change your filters, rewrite your message, and target your version of the ideal client. This is how small businesses win, not by working harder, but by building systems that do the work for them. I'll see you in the next one.